Hey, my name is Kevin, and this is my 23andme results reaction. So, just a little bit of background about me. My father is culturally Vietnamese, but he had told me stories in the past about how his family migrated to Vietnam from China. So, I knew that I had definite mix of Chinese and Vietnamese in me. While for my mom, she told me that her father was European, so my biological grandfather. So I had some inkling of knowing that I had some European blood in me as well. But again, since this was a while back, there weren't many documents or just any information about my full ethnicity. So this is why I decided to use 23andMe, just to get a glimpse of what I am. I always wanted to do this in some sort of capacity, but that $99 price was a little bit steep for me. And that $99 only includes the ancestry composition. It doesn't include the health as well, which would be a lot more. So I saw a deal around Christmas time where it was about $30 off, and I thought that was a good bargain, so I went ahead and bought the kit. So with the kit, they just made you spit into a little tube, put it in their sealed box, and ship it off. It took about 4 to 5 weeks, so about a month or so, which was, from what I've been reading, typically normal. So it wasn't that long of a wait, and I just recently got the email. So this is just my reaction to it right now. So right off the bat, my ancestry composition is about 41% Vietnamese, so that's a definite shock. But let's just go ahead and look through my entire ancestry right now. So I'm 41% Vietnamese. I actually consider myself 100% culturally Vietnamese, so this is a big shock to me. So with that 41, that's just mainly in Vietnam. So the country shaded in orange right there. Next, I'm 6.2% Indonesian, Thai, Khmer, and Myanmar. So with that, that's just the countries surrounding Vietnam and below. So it's still around that Southeast Asian area. I'm 3.8% Chinese, which again isn't a shock considering my dad and his ancestry Chinese dye just a little bit. So that's the area between China and the other Southeast Asian countries. It also says that I'm 21% broadly Chinese and South Asian, or Southeast Asian, I'm sorry. So I guess they can't really pinpoint me to a certain area or a certain country with that 21%. But all I know is that it just makes up the majority of who I am. So Southeast Asian and Chinese. I'm also broadly Northern Asian and Native American, and also broadly East Asian and Native American as well. So that's about 1%. So I guess when they say that, it doesn't necessarily mean the Native Americans we think of in North America. It's just that the ancestry group over the past 50,000 years had a similar origin within Asia and especially China, where they moved across the Bering Strait to Alaska and Canada. So yeah, that's definitely interesting to know. So I'm about 74% East Asian and Native American. So just going on to European, I'm 25.1%. That's definitely interesting, and it just shows you the power of genetics, how having one white grandfather and uh, my other three grandparents being Asian, how it just matches up so correctly and proportionally, you know? So 25.1% European, so I'm 8.1% British and Irish. Yeah, I can definitely see that, just a little bit. 3.7% French and German. That's not a shocker because I knew in the past that the French colonized Vietnam for a while, so there might have been some mixing going on over there in Vietnam with the French. I'm 1.4% Spanish and Portuguese. Um, so it's influenced by several Mediterranean civilizations. Today, this ancestry is common in people of Latin American descent. One or actually 0.1% Scandinavian over there, so not too much. 7.5% broadly Northwestern European. So I guess that's similar to the Asian counterpart of broadly Chinese or Northern Asian. So that just means that they can't pinpoint my European ancestry too much with that 7.5%. But all I know is it's definitely in the Northwestern European area. 2.6 broadly Southern European. That's Italy, Malta, Spain, and Portugal. So the Iberian region as well as the Balkan peninsulas. 1.8 broadly European. Again, that's a pretty big area, so it doesn't tell me much, just that I'm European. A little bit more. Sub-Saharan African, 0.9%. So I have 0.7% African hunter-gatherer and 0.1% broadly Sub-Saharan African. Yeah, and then 0.2% undefined. Yeah, so definitely interesting to know my full ethnicity. I always wanted to do this, and to just see it right there for you was definitely a lot to take in. But ultimately, your ethnicity and where you come from and the blood that you have doesn't change the person that you are, right? So I've been watching other reaction videos where for some reason people would assume that they're like part white or part mixed, and they are disappointed to find out that they're 100% of whatever. I feel like you should be proud of who you are no matter what, and this only tells you your roadmap and just um, your features, but it doesn't really dictate who you are as a person, right? So if you're interested in knowing your ethnicity and all that, I would just go for the cheaper test with the 23andMe. So without the health, just go ahead and just do the ancestry report and try to find a bargain or a deal or a sale, so that way you don't end up paying over $100 for this. If it's worth it, I would say if you're running low on cash, I wouldn't do it. But if you have some extra cash to spare and you're very curious about knowing who you are and it's kind of important to you, then I would go ahead and do it for sure. But it does take about a month. Yeah, so all in all, definitely interesting. I had inklings of knowing from my parents, but nothing was ever 100% sure. But now I have it all laid out for me. So, yeah, it's just a little bit of comfort knowing who I am and what I'm made out of. But ultimately, it doesn't decide what kind of person you are, right? So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.